People in the district are responding following former President Donald Trump's appearance in a federal courtroom in the district where, of course, he was arraigned on 4 federal charges.
Yeah, it was a historic day and quite the spectacle. And here's what we learned. So the former president pleaded not guilty of those charges tied to his involvement in the January 6th insurrection. Also, attempts to overturn the 2020 election to stay in power. The arraignment lasted less than an hour, facing his 3rd criminal indictment.
Yeah, Trump then exited the courtroom with his team, heading back through the district and down the George Washington Parkway to Reagan National. Before he boarded his plane to leave, this is what he had to say.
Seeing the filth and the decay and all of the broken buildings and walls and the graffiti, this is not the place that I left. It's a very sad thing to see it. When you look at what's happening, this is a persecution of a political opponent. This was never supposed to happen in America.
Well, Trump went on to say, if you can't beat him, you persecute him or you prosecute them. But it was his first comments about D.C. that they're not sitting well with some in the district. Our political and government reporter, Leonard N. Fleming, took that very same drive today that Trump took from the airport to the courthouse.
Yeah, and Leonard, talk to us about what you saw.
Chris and Tasmin, we actually did. We drove the same route as the former president took on Thursday because we wanted to see exactly what it was that prompted these statements that caused such a stir in the DMV. Today, we retraced the former president's journey to federal court from Reagan Airport. Going over the 14th Street Bridge into D.C. with the Jefferson Memorial on the left, we saw isolated spots of graffiti on the sides of bridges as we headed into the tunnel. What we didn't see were broken buildings or decay, other than a few aging areas that, from the looks of things, have been there for many years.
He lives down in Mar-a-Lago, so what is he talking about?
Cornelius Scott of D.C. heard former President Donald Trump's comments that his city was full of filth, decay, and broken buildings.
D.C. is not in that bad of a shape, in my opinion, living here.
I don't really see as much of that when I'm walking around.
Lauren Von Beckman also lives in the district.
Obviously, it's a city, so you see a lot of graffiti, a lot of rubbish, a lot of trash around. Just kind of in any city, I feel like he's probably in a pretty bad mood, if I had to guess.
Richard Moore works in D.C. but lives in Maryland. He doesn't see what Trump claims he saw.
In this specific area, I didn't see any of those things. I rarely see any of those things. You may see a passing freight train with some graffiti on it.
The comments were made, he says, for negative effect.
Some of the insightful comments are what they were made for, to incite people who don't live in the D.C. or the DMV area.
People I spoke to want Trump to focus more on his charges that he tried to overturn the 2020 presidential election than the condition of the nation's capital. Reporting from the studio, Leonard N. Fleming, D.C. News Now, back to you.